a little bit more about gradients. That is one of my favorite things to do. I love gradients. I don't like solid colors. So right there on the panel section is where you have the gradients, where you have colors, you have swatches, and you have gradients, you have patterns. So this is what he was showing you there. Uh, I have quite a bit of stuff in there, like basic blues, purples, pinks, orange colors, greens, like the whole thing. Like one of my favorite ones is the iridescent. Uh, Pastels are okay. All right, so that is the gradients tool. Now we have the smudge tool. I don't use the smudge tool that much.
The smudge tool in Photoshop is a creative feature used for blending or mixing colors in your image, creating a soft, smooth effect. By default, the smudge tool only affects the active layer. If you want to sample all layers, simply select Sample All Layers in the options bar. This will allow you to use the smudge tool on a new blank layer, which you can turn off or on at any time. Adjust the size of the smudge tool using the open and close brackets on the keyboard, or check your options in the options panel. Click and drag the brush over the area you'd like to smudge. The smudge tool picks up the color from where the stroke begins and pushes it in the direction you drag, gently transforming well-defined edges into softer lines. You can also enable the finger paint option, which allows you to smudge using the foreground color. For seamlessly blending different parts of your image, the smudge tool is the perfect tool for the job.
If you want it smudge, I don't like it, but there is, I guess, taste for everyone. I haven't seen the smudge tool used like in a way that I would say, "Ooh, I like that." But no, maybe you are one of those who will explore it and then you have that. Pretty much any of the videos or anything that is like beginners, it's kind of turn on. Anything there is advanced, you have to go into the learn area and then basically explore what they have offered there. We're not gonna do that. All right, so he did touch about the smudge tool. He didn't really talk about the sharpen tool or the blur tool. We might cover those because sometimes I'll do like the blur tool. When you want to blur a background, so if I click on the blur tool, then I can start like, kind of blurring. We have strength about 50%. I have to go 80%. It's really not affecting this. Sometimes, depending on what you have, it is affecting it, but it's affecting it very little. So you can see in there, affecting it very, very little because of the type of background that we have here. So not, but you got to play around with it. This is what I was saying. We're covering some of the items. If you want to explore, I was like, you say, I was like, oh, blur, blur. So let me see what I can do. So play around with it. Now, it's not going to work the same on every background that you have. Like in this type of background that I have here, this background that I have back there behind me, might work. Like if I want to blur the whole thing. But we haven't talked about overlays. I think sometimes an overlay probably would be better than just going in there and trying to blur the whole thing. Like I have a special camera, this camera that I have that I'm using right now, with just one click, I can blur. No, not that one. Oh, it doesn't have it available for this background. And I just turned myself off. So like in there, that has a blur background with one click. But didn't like that I did that. So this is a special camera. I have a lifetime version of it, paid like $25, and it has like lots of different backgrounds that I can just select. And if I don't like the background and it's available, see, this is not available for that one either. So it just depends. So different filters in here, like I have like a ton of filters. I can add a bunch of more things in here. But what I wanted to show you is not available. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Now, in the future, we're going to talk about something that's called an overlay. you can have a background like the one that I have back here and use an overlay. An overlay is something that you put on top of the background. That overlay could be all kinds of different things. So, so I, I, the blur tool is not something that I like because it would be too time consuming. All right, let's see if it does show a blur.
The blur tool in Photoshop is a useful feature to soften and blur parts of your image. This versatile tool is perfect for smoothing textures or blending edges seamlessly. To access the blur tool, find it in the toolbar. The blur tool will sample the active layer by default. If you want to sample all layers, select Sample All Layers in the Options bar. Adjust the size of the blur tool using the open and close brackets on the keyboard. Click and drag the brush over the area you'd like to blur. The more you drag, the more blurred the area becomes. You can adjust the blur tool strength in the Options bar, creating a more subtle or stronger blur effect depending on your needs. For precise control over blurring specific parts of your image, the blur tool is the perfect tool for the job.
All right, here it goes. Sharpen tool. Let's close that.
The Sharpen tool enhances image clarity by sharpening blurry or unclear areas and highlighting details. It improves contrast by darkening dark pixels and brightening lighter ones, resulting in better defined edges that makes objects stand out in your photos. To use the Sharpen tool, locate it in the toolbar. By default, the tool samples the active layer. If you would like to sample all layers, simply select Sample All Layers in the Options bar. Modify the Sharpen tool's size using the open and close brackets on your keyboard. A larger brush size will cover more area, while a smaller size enables more precise sharpening. To achieve a more subtle or a stronger sharpening effect, adjust the strength properties in the Options bar. Click and drag the brush over the area you'd like to sharpen. The more you drag, the greater the sharpening effect. For fine-tuned sharpening specific areas of your photos, the Sharpen tool is the way to go.
I've shown you this before. So this is called the historic brush tool. It's kind of like the undo button one. Restores parts of an image to an early state. I'm not sure. I have really not used that before, but let me click on the learn to see if it does say. I don't think it says. It's very similar to the undo tool, since like it looks like what it's doing. So you erase this and you choose the window and then you go back. That doesn't say how far it goes back. But remember the undo button, right here, the undo goes back 50 steps, 50 strokes, 50 clicks of the mouse that you have done. I wouldn't wait. Like if I'm on number 50, I wouldn't go back 49 or 40 of them. That would be like crazy. Because usually this is what I do. I try to save at least 5 or even less strokes, depending on how much that change. Now, obviously, let's say, for example, if I come over here and I go, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5. If I did that without letting the mouse go, that's 1 stroke that the undo button will be able to undo. But if I come here and I do 1, let the mouse go, 2, let the mouse go, 3, let the mouse go, 4, let the mouse go, and do 5, then I have 5 steps in there that I just did instead of just 1 because I did them all separately. So think of that. When you can undo something, it will be drastically going back depending on what you did. I usually try to create ways that I just go back maybe 10 at the most. Maybe trying something new, or I forget to let the mouse go, and I was like, darn it. Then you're really gonna have, to go. Like in this image, I thought these were part of the jacket, but when I got really close, I realized that it's just, it's trying to create a paint drip, but the paint drip was supposed to be only white, But because the brown jacket and the brown pants are there, then it created a little bit of that. Doesn't look that bad, but I don't like it right around the hands over here. If I was fixing this image, I would get rid of that and probably those four, they're there. So these three here, there's two there, those two and those two. And then the ones at the bottom, they're okay. I don't mind them. Uh, don't like this thing right there on the hat. Uh, this drip looks like it's going up, so I'll probably eliminate that because drip's supposed to go down unless somebody just went like this. But that one looks like it's going backwards. So I would probably eliminate something like that. Or get him all out of here, getting him out of here and put him in a different background, like we did explore that in the first part of the video.
The spot healing brush tool is perfect for removing small imperfections.
The spot healing brush, I'm surprised he chose something like this. Now, these lines between the wood planks, these little wood areas are big. But when you get into areas where like little lines, like the lines that we have here on this bear, this dripping lines that you have here, those become problematic.
The quick selection tool is an easy way to make selections in your images.
Yes and no. They're being tricky on these videos that I'm showing you. They're selecting images where the tool does the best job. So now he did mention in there that whenever you're selecting this, you have to select the selection that you're making has to have sharp, defined edges. If it's blending with the next, like in this ice cone in here, the cone is brown, the ice cream is is like much different than the brown color. When you do that, normally you have quick selection tool will make a good job. Otherwise, you have to do it manually. And a lot of different things usually I end up doing things manually because the algorithm can really pick.
The Magic Wand tool is a powerful feature in Photoshop.
When you are doing, I have used the Magic quick selection kind of tool with mixed results. It depends. Like I wouldn't try to do it in this chameleon because the chameleon colors are too close to each other. Like notice what he did, the last thing he did in there, and when he selected like a bunch of things all over the place. That is usually not that practical. I don't see how he can find value on doing something like that. It's good to do when you're trying to do, basically when you're trying to do like the object selection tool, it's a quick way. Like in this bear that we have here, like the glasses work pretty good because they're not anything that he's wearing. Like the cap, it doesn't want to select the cap, but it wants to select the jacket, not the jacket, or like he wants to select everything. You might be able to like get this guy out, like change the clothing by deselecting it or changing the color by doing the magic tool. Don't know. Every image is a different challenge. When you're working with Photoshop, what you're trying to do, it might have worked on another image that you have, but the image that you have now, it might not work. It just, basically, it depends. You have to go with any of these tools. For them to work optimal, it depends on the image that you have. Your image is basically the one that decides is the tool going to work or not. So this is the nice thing about having artificial intelligence now here in Photoshop, because it saves you lots of work. Believe me, I have I have done jobs where I have to manually do because the artificial selection, whatever it is that I'm trying to use, any of the tools that I'm trying to do, might have artificial intelligence in there. The artificial intelligence can't help you at all. Right there is having a hard time. It's selecting certain things, but it wants to select other things. It just depends how you are kind of, you know, this is a difficult image. I didn't pick this on purpose to be a difficult image. I just wanted to show you like the problems with the letters when the letters are like, artificial intelligence cannot really understand words yet. I saw in somewhere that it was trying to show like a different artificial intelligence. I haven't tried it.
Artboards in Photoshop are a powerful feature that allow you to create, organize, and resize multiple canvases within a single document. They're perfect for managing multiple designs, iterations, or variations of a project without creating separate files. The Artboard tool is nested under the Move tool in the toolbar. Click and hold on the Move tool to reveal and select the Artboard tool, or press Shift-V to cycle between the Move tool and the Artboard tool. To create a new artboard, click and drag on the canvas to create a custom size, or choose from the available presets in the Options bar or Properties panel. These presets cater to different design purposes, such as web, mobile, print, and more. Once you've created an artboard, you can rearrange, resize, or remove it by selecting the Artboard tool and clicking on the desired artboard. Use the bounding box to resize or reposition the artboard in your document. You can also adjust the size of each artboard in the Properties panel. When you're ready to save or export your designs, use the Quick Export options in the Layers panel to export each artboard as a separate file.
I don't like to put them together like this because sometimes that makes it difficult for you to separate them later. When you have the artboards, like right here on the top, right now, we only have one work that we're working with. But if I have that one, tennis two there, and then tennis two black white and tennis one black white, if I have them separately, separate different artworks, I think they're better to manipulate. But that's just my preference. I don't, like notice when you have one image, like one artboard, basically you have here. If I put another one there and another one there and another one, I'm gonna have to be flipping and doing all kinds of different things in here. If I have this one here and that one is this one and this one is another one, all I have to do is just click there and it goes there. To me, that's more expedient than doing it the way they're offering. All of these are offerings. It might be that I don't like it. It might be that I don't prefer it, but maybe you like it. So that's at the end of the day, doesn't matter what I'm showing you. I'm basically giving you options, different options work for you. Right? You might like the way I do it, and you might say, "Oh, I don't like that way." So then you select a different one. That's pretty much the way I like it. It's better to do it that way.
The pen tool is an essential feature in Photoshop.
All right. Now, this tool, it's neat. I would not consider it as a beginner kind of tool, more like intermediate. Can do some really, really quick, awesome things. As a matter of fact, I just learned something new that you can do with it that I have always been interested on. So I'm going to show it in the next video. I'm going to show like several different things that you can do with these tools now that you know the name and what they do, so you can explore. Now, like I was saying before, you can go into learn more pretty much in all the tools that you have here. You might pick selections that probably maybe too advanced, especially like the ones that we have here at the bottom. like add an anchor point to, delete an anchor point to, that kind of goes together, convert the point to, and so the freeform doesn't have anything. It doesn't even tell you what it does. Freeform, anytime you see the word freeform in Photoshop, basically is allowing you not to follow a geometric figure. So you can, follow like you're deciding where the form is going. But you can draw shapes, you can do paths, you can do all kinds of things. So there is some suggestions in here. There's about 40 of them. So obviously we're not going to do those, but there are some things in here that we might explore on our next video. Now, I just want to make sure that we cover all of it. All right, so curvature, you can do curves. Freeform basically is freehand. So we have that. Now we have the text tool.
The type tool is essential for adding text to images or designs. Photoshop offers a variety of options for customizing and formatting text, including fonts, styles, size, and color. You can access these options in the options bar, and additional type-related settings can be found in the character and paragraph panels in the window menu. To add text to your document, first select the type tool or press T on your keyboard. Click on the canvas where you'd like to add text and start typing, or click and drag to create a text frame for multiple lines of text. If you need to edit your text, simply click on the type tool again and click on the text you'd like to modify. Once you're done editing your text, click the checkmark icon in the options bar or press the escape key to commit your changes.
He didn't mention it there, but you can change stuff. Once you have the typing that you have, you can try different fonts. Like I do that all the time. Like there's certain kinds of fonts that I like more than I like other ones. Like sans serif usually is one of my favorite ones. Like out of the, this is one that I mentioned whenever I was doing the history of graphic design. I mentioned that I prefer Times, New Times Roman. I like. I like the font that he's using right there. I really like that one. Like a little bit more thicker font. I prefer. Don't know why. It's something that I enjoy. We were talking about text. Right here on the text area, we have the text that we saw the little video about, and you have horizontal. The text is coming in this direction. Vertical is coming from top down or up, bottom up. I've seen some of those. Never really care for doing anything like that, so I have not done it. But sometimes when you do something like that, so like right there, it has up and down arrow. You can do something like that, but you have to be very careful when you do something like that because it might not be very readable. But if you're trying to create the effect of the sign of a hotel, then the hotel is going HOTEL, then I think it will work. As long as you're not trying anything too complicated, it will be fine. Our next tool, all right, so this is the path selection tool. We have a little video there.
The path selection tool and the direct selection tool are used for editing paths in your images, allowing you to fine-tune the shapes and selections you've created with the pen tool or other vector-based tools. To access the path selection tool or direct selection tool, find them in the toolbar or press A on your keyboard. The path selection tool is used to select an entire path. Simply click on the path you want to select, and the path will be highlighted with anchor points. The path selection tool is really handy when you want to move or transform an entire path without affecting individual anchor points. The direct selection tool allows for more precise and controlled selection and editing of individual anchor points, direction lines, or segments of a path. Simply click on an anchor point or segment of the path to select it. Then, click and drag to adjust the position or modify the shape or curve of the path. The direct selection tool can also be selected while using the pen tool by simply holding down Control or Command. These tools allow for precise editing of your paths, creating perfect cutouts and beautiful vector graphics.
Yeah, vector graphics. Vector graphics is something that we're going to see when we go into Adobe Illustrator. But see here in Photoshop, you have a little bit of vector graphics. Obviously, you're not going to be having all the powerful tools that you have when you're working with Illustrator, but they're here, not bad. All right, so he did explain both of them, the path selection tool and the direct selection tool. Sometimes, every now and then, they might add a new video because they want to give us more information, but not in this case. The next one that we have is called the rectangle tool. Let's watch a video for that.
The rectangle shape tool is essential for creating customized shapes in your designs. You can customize the shape size, color, and stroke, as well as modify its dimensions, position, and rotation. Additionally, you can add effects such as shadows, gradients, and textures. To use the rectangle shape tool, first select it from the toolbar or press U as a keyboard shortcut. Next, click and drag to draw the rectangle. You can hold down the Shift key to constrain the proportions of the shape, making a perfect square, or the Alt key to draw the shape from the center outwards. Once you've created your shape, you can customize it further by adjusting its properties in the Options bar or the Properties panel. Here you can modify the dimensions, position, rotation, color, stroke, and other effects to achieve your desired look.
I like the rectangle tool. It's very useful. He didn't mention there whether these are vectors or not. In Photoshop, your vectors are kind of limited. When you do something like this in Illustrator, we're going to see that when we get to Illustrator. We're going to see that all of these are vectors. Vectors are usually much better. We really haven't talked about that yet, but I did cover a little bit. Illustrator, you have a lot of this stuff that you have here is either a PNG or a JPEG. PNGs have much better definition when it comes to all the items that might be in there, like color, how the pixels, how defined they are, many different things. We're going to cover more of those later. Right now, I'm just trying to give you an introduction of what the tools are and what the tools do. But vectors allowed you to, obviously here, when you're starting like right now, this image that I have here is 1224 by 1840. I can make it smaller and I'm not going to lose anything because I started with a good definition. But in Illustrator, you can go up or you can go down. If I try to make this a 3000 by 4000, probably something might be lost, especially because I'm starting with, with these dimensions that you have here. When you have a vector, nothing will be lost. You can scale it or make it smaller and nothing will be lost. Ellipse tool here, the triangle tool, polygon tool, the line tool, and the custom shape tool. So as you probably see in here, the rectangle makes a rectangle or a square, the ellipse makes a circle or an oval, the triangle makes the triangle, the polygon or polygonal tool makes polygons, and then you have line tool where you can, make different things, and obviously you have custom. Here we have a video. Nope, probably we're not gonna have a video for the other ones. Basically, what you're doing is you're making what the tool says, draws polygons. So line tool, you're using lines, so you draw lines. And the last one in there, but let me click, it's a custom shape tool. So basically, if I wanted to make this shape of a bear, probably gonna have to use that one. All right, so that is that. The next one is called the rotate view tool. Depending on what you're working with, you might, be able to do this. The rotate tool allows me to rotate what I got here on the canvas. I mean, the camp. This is also called canvas. The working area, right? This working area that we have here. So sometimes that might be useful depending on the what you're doing. What kind of effect are you gonna want? Obviously, if I go like this, not gonna make any sense unless I'm trying to do something that would be upside down or whatever it is. So so allows you to do that. Now, all right. So then we have the hand tool. Hand tool allows me to move this around. Look, it's going off the working area. It's jumping off. What is the difference between the the hand tool and the move tool? Well, let's watch the video to see if they tell us there.
The hand tool is essential for navigating around your images in Photoshop when they're zoomed in or magnified. It allows you to pan your image in any direction, making it easier to work on different parts of your image. To use the hand tool, simply select it from the toolbar or press H on your keyboard. Next, click and drag anywhere on your image to pan or move it in the direction of your mouse or stylus movement. You can also use keyboard shortcuts to activate the hand tool. Simply hold down the spacebar and your cursor will automatically change to the hand tool. While holding the spacebar, click and drag to move your image around. When you release the spacebar, your cursor will automatically go back to the last tool you were using.
Yep, we know that. All right, now he didn't explain the difference. So if I have the hand tool, so notice that I click the hand tool, I'm going to be able to move this. If I have the move tool, it moves inside the canvas, especially because I had two in there. I have that one and I also have that one. With the move tool, I'm moving inside the canvas. In other words, inside the layers that I have. With the hand tool, I'm moving the whole canvas and the image is inside. So like if you wanted to put something else over here, then you put there. All right, so that's explaining that. Then we have this little magnifying glass. This is called the zoom tool. And yes, you probably figure out, what does it do?
The zoom tool is essential for viewing your images at different sizes. It allows you to zoom in and out of your image, enabling you to view details or the entire image at once. To use the zoom tool, simply select it from the toolbar or press Z on your keyboard. Next, click on any part of the image you want to see larger. Each click will increase the zoom level, bringing you closer to your image. To zoom out, you can hold Alt or Option on your keyboard and click on your image. You can also use keyboard shortcuts to quickly zoom in and out of your image. To zoom in, press Ctrl or Command and the plus key, and to zoom out, press Ctrl or Command and the minus key. You can also press Z to activate the zoom tool and simply click and drag to the left or right to zoom in and out of a specific area. Zooming in and out is an essential part of working precisely in Photoshop.
Yes and no. Depending on, if you have an image that is large like that one, yes, zooming in and out is good. If you have an image like this one that is a 33%, I guess you can do this. Right? So there it is. I prefer, if I'm trying to get something closer, I like to just make the image larger. Now, obviously, you can zoom in here and then just manipulate it with the arrows, just like he said. But I think this one gets me there faster. So I don't know. Just a matter of, I would say, preference. It does not quite the same thing, but when it comes to like working with this, it accomplishes the same thing. I'm zooming in. I'm getting in there to whatever area that I want to do. Like if I wanted to delete all these guys, I don't know why they remind me of like chocolate is dripping, because maybe the chocolate color the jacket has. All right, so that is the zoom, and don't think it has, that's the next one. So there is no arrow in there, so there's nothing else. It just zooms in and out. That's it. Then we have this next one is called the edit toolbar. You can customize it. Pretty much a lot of these you can customize. We haven't really gone into there because I don't really want to spend too much time on this. You can really spend days just talking about all these tools and what it does and showing you examples. So these are some of the things that you can customize the toolbar. These last 3 or 4 over here. We're not really going to cover them much. Then you have the next one. So notice how it changes this. I don't think it's affecting this one at all. So I very seldom touch that, but maybe somebody out there has something else. I'm going to be trying to find out some things that I have questions about uh, that we might cover this. All right. Now, this is the exit quick mask mode. Not really affecting anything because I haven't done a mask. So if you haven't done that, obviously, we're not going to cover masks yet. Now, and here, the last bottom tool that we have there is this. This is called the full screen. I don't like that screen because whenever I go full screen, never gives me the bars that I need to get it down. So I'm pressing escape, escape, supposed to get it done, but it doesn't do it because it's annoying. But my screen doesn't adjust to the edges. It goes like half an inch further in there. So when a program does that, this is one of the things that I don't like about Zoom. When it zooms out beyond the area that I can grab, which is really annoying. All right, so this right here at the bottom has standard screen mode. Even when I press F, it doesn't get me back. So that's really annoying. So you have full screen mode with menu bar and full screen mode. Now, I don't work in full screen mode pretty much with nothing because of this issue that it does. Now, it doesn't do it over here, but the screen's smaller. It doesn't do it on that one, but that screen, it's like, I don't know, it's messed up. Because when I put it at HD, it does something really funny. So, like, I need to replace those two, but I'm gonna do that right now. All right, so that is the end of the toolbars. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.